Hey guys, it's Masatonic. I'm bilingual Harukist. 皆さん、こんにちは。バイリンガルハルキストのマサトニックです。Haruki Murakami Book Guide Novel 4 Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. So, in this video, I'd like to talk about very popular Murakami's novel. I really like this novel and I'm very excited about to introduce this very nice novel. So, let's get started. As always, this video consists of 3 parts. First overview, second story, third deep reading or reading tips from me. So first overview, this one in English one, published in 1991 in UK edition in firstly by Hamish Hamilton publisher. And after that in 1993, published in the US edition by Vintage Press. So, and now available on ebook as well. And Japan, beforehand in about 1980s, this had published and got some literary awards in Japan. And in Japan also, there is unpublished original short stories, which is named Kabe, means a wall. So, Machito, Futashika Kabe, something like that. The town and uncertain wall, something like that. And that one is actually not published even in Japan. It's only listed on some literary magazine. And still, if you can read Japanese and you can access to some Japanese library or something, it's the only way to read the original text of original short story, that one. But because Murakami himself thought that was not a good one. It's just a kind of practice to write. So, and then after that, very much longer one, this one, the Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World had published as a, full novel. That's final version. Still, it's a kind of, this is Murakami's first almost the beginning stage of his career. So if Murakami will write this story now, maybe the way of writing would be different, but basic essence of Murakami's way of writing is already there, and the story is really interesting. So, and so many Murakami's fans selected this novel as a best Murakami's book ever. Of course, there's another popular one like Norwegian Wood, 1Q84, etc. But still, this work is really popular. In Japan, sometimes some questionnaire had occurred, what's the best book of Murakami? And the majority of Murakami's fans selected this book as a best book. Of course, there's so many another opinion around there, but this one's popularity is so huge. I think I could select this one as a best book of Murakami's novel as well. Of course, it depends on each times. I really like other books too, but still, it's really interesting book. So, what kind of story? So, it's really long book. So I just refer to the very beginning or structure and the beginning of the story. And as you can tell from the title, that one, Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. There's 2 stories. It's a so-called parallel story told in turn, chapter by chapter. So first chapter, I start with Hard-Boiled Wonderland, and chapter 2 is End of the World, and chapter 3 is Hard-Boiled Wonderland, something like that. Chapter by chapter, that 2 stories are told in turn, and both story has 20 chapters. So in total, 40 chapters are told in this story, and as you can tell, Hard-Boiled Wonderland and End of the World are totally different words, but gradually that 2 words, connected to each other and influence with each other, resonate with each other, as you can tell, as such a parallel side story. But At first, very beginning of the story, Hardboiled Wonderland and the world really different ones. So how those two stories connected is one very interesting point of this novel. So, and then in Hardboiled Wonderland is here. Basically, this is based on real world of Tokyo in 1980s. And of course, there are so many, how to say, realistic things happened. But basically, the stage itself is a real Tokyo, and the real town's name is around there. Actually, Murakami used to live there. There's such a Murakami's place is depicted in this here. And the protagonist is I. And this I, I's job is quite unique. And that job is called here, Calcutech. It's kind of, let's say, made up word. There's no job such as Calcutech. In Japan, the original text is called keisanshi. So keisan means a calculation, and shi means some professionals who can do that work, like a bengoshi, lawyer, or yeah, something like that. So calcutech means such a maybe that the professionals for calculation. And so as a calcutech, the protagonist visited the doctor, and this doctor is a very key person. Gradually, it will reveal, but a very strange person. And his office is located very unique place, you can tell. So, but I will not refer about in this video. It's really interesting. So at first, our doctor's office, there a pinkish girl was there. The pinkish girl is some girl, granddaughter of this doctor, and she wear a pink suit, so means pinkish girl. And with her, I visited doctor's office. This is the beginning of this part. And gradually, another girl will appear, and the library girl. And the library girl is kind of very important key role she will take. So this is a hardboiled wonderland. And what's hardboiled? It's something like this part of the story depicted in kind of a detective or how to say hardboiled style. It's like a Raymond Chandler, the style. Actually, Murakami is really like Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe series, such a hardboiled detective type story. He's really like, and then the storytelling style is basically used in this hardboiled wonderland. That's the hardboiled wonderland. And on the other hand, the end of the world is much more very so-called very novel-like or story-like, a fantasy-like world and the way of writing. The protagonist is the same as I, narrator, but it's kind of, there's some different nuances differ in original Japanese text. In Japan, as you might know, I has a different, so many different way to say I. So in this hardboiled wonderland, I in Japan is watashi. Watashi is some kind of polite way, or in some nuance of snobbish. I mean something like look upon some other peoples, or take some distance from it, or much more public one. In public case, often use watashi, I. And end of the world case, I used boku. Boku is much more private one, more, how to say, much more boys often to use the word boku. So watashi and boku. In Japan, Japanese original text is different nuance. So just simply from it, you can tell that these two words is totally different one. But anyway, protagonist is I, and in this world, there's some gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper cut the shadow off from I. So, and then this is very kind of fantasy-like part, and the shadow's image is really interesting. According to depiction, shadow is not just a shadow of some people, much more, how to say, another self. So when gatekeeper cut shadow from eye, but still these two existence it's there. So shadow can speak by himself and communicate with eye. Well, of course, with gatekeeper. So but split into a two, how to say, individuals is a key point. And after that, I stepped into the town, which town is surrounded by wall, and I became another interesting job, dream reader. In Japanese, yume yomi. Yume is dream, and yomu is read. And then yomi means something like someone, those who are doing something. So, and the leader, dream leader. It's a really nice way, something like very, how to say, good nuance, dream reader. And I became dream reader and work at the library. And there's a girl also. So there's some correspond with the both two words. But these girls really same character or not is one key point of this book. So those two words is separately told and going on in this novel, but gradually these two words resonate with each other. And finally, yes, that kind of story. So, and it's really interesting. I think that, how to say, story is one very core of this novel. So many Murakami's fans really like this story itself, I think. All right, so let's move to the next topic, deep reading. I pick up three perspectives how deeply enjoying this book. At first, simply enjoying story and read deeply and think. It's like ordinary deep reading tips. But firstly, if you never read this book, you just first time just simply enjoy story. Like I said many times, this is a really interesting story. Just immerse with yourself in this story. Is maybe you can enjoy fully. And after that, and if you think that this is a really interesting one, you can read two stories as separate one. Like I said, the Untitled Wonderland and the End of the World is basically different story, but gradually connected and resonate with each other. So as a whole, you can enjoy one, how to say, full story. But even totally separated one, basically you can enjoy as a one novel, Untitled Wonderland, and also the End of the World. So that's one way of the reading. And when you read, some tips, some deeply read, focus on small items like paper clip, nail clippers, scarf, etc., etc. There are so many very detailed items featured both worlds, and some of them are kind of common items. Or so with those items, and with thinking what's the meaning or what of this item, it's one way to deeply read. So let's try, right? And another perspective, enjoy with five senses. Basically, I really like these kind of enjoying style. First, music. There are so many music featured this novel as well. And some of very important ones, I think these three music, Danny Boy and Bob Dylan's music, and also The End of the World. It's a music, some kind of popular music. So maybe these songs lyrics is actually featured in the novel itself. So it's a kind of a key music of the story. And also Danny Boy is had a very important role in this story. Maybe in actually in Japan, Danny Boy is not so much popular, but a majority, so many people know the melody itself. So if the Japanese people doesn't know the Danny Boy's name, but when they heard the music, maybe they can tell they knew that music itself. I think in English case, maybe it's kind of popular, I guess. But if you don't know that what kind of music Danny Boy, you can search on YouTube or Google, and maybe you can tell maybe it's kind of very familiar and really nice music was there. And also Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is kind of very important person because a few years ago at the Nobel Literature Prize, he got the prize. And at first and as you might know, almost every year Murakami is expected to get the award. Of course, a few years ago, Japanese Murakami fans gathered at some cafe and expected to get the prize and the award. And the result is at that year Bob Dylan. So we are very surprised, but still it's really kind of pleased because Bob Dylan's influence with Murakami's story is huge. And one of one of example is this novel. When you read the novel, you can tell Bob Dylan's music is very much featured and had a great important role as well. So yeah, Bob Dylan is very important. And plus it's really nice music. Yeah. And food. Two things I really like in this novel is cuisine at the restaurant. It's very latter part of the novel are Hardboiled Wonderland. Protagonist and a library girl had a dinner at the restaurant. Their dinner's depiction is really awesome. They ate so many gorgeous cuisine. That's really amazing, and it's really delicious. And also, after much more latter part, the protagonist enjoying an oyster at the beer hall. That was also kind of to me, it's really nice. I really like eating oyster at the beer hall, so I'd like to try someday, right? And also another perspective is journey. Like I said, the Hardboiled Wonderland, the stage is real Tokyo. So there's so many Tokyo's local names there, like Sendagaya Oya or Aoyama Ichome. It's around the place where Murakami used to live and run his own jazz bar. So maybe that was the, how to say, Murakami's neighborhood is depicted in the Hardboiled Wonderland. So you can, and in Hardboiled Wonderland, basically middle of the novel, the main stage is underground of these areas. So, but of course, it's very difficult to dig into the underground, but you can still walk around above the world of the such an underground world. So it's a Sendagaya and Aoyama Ichome. So if you have an opportunity to visit the Tokyo, let's try. It's a really interesting way to walk around. And yes, it's basically Murakami's place. So, and also another perspective is film. Kirago, The Big Sleep, The Quiet Man, and Hard Times, and other films are featured in this novel as well. And one thing is, I'd like to point out that The Big Sleep. The Big Sleep is a Raymond Chandler's a first series of the Philip Marlowe, and it's based on that novel and turned into film. So Raymond Chandler is, as I said, Murakami's one of the favorite author, and the Hardboiled Wonderland part is based on such a Raymond Chandler's way of storytelling Murakami used. So in a way, it's connected. And also the film version of The Big Sleep is directed and story lighted by William Faulkner. He's another literary giant. Actually, Murakami himself rarely referred about Faulkner compared to Hemingway and a Fitzgerald. Of course, slightly the time era was different, but basically the as a classic American novel, it's kind of connected. So in a way, it's a really interesting one. And in English case, it's very easy to tell because the Big Sleep and the film's title and the novel's title is the same. So as a reader, it's very easy to detect the Big Sleep is connected to Raymond Chandler, and so Raymond Chandler's way of writing is connected to Hardboiled Wonderland. But in Japan, for some unknown reason, the Big Sleep's film's title is totally different. In English, you can it's Japanese original title of this film is Mitsu Kazoero. Mitsu means three, so count three. It's a Japanese title. So at first, and I never watched the film itself, so I can tell what's this movie. And Google searched it, and I can get the information about the Mitsu Kazoero is the Big Sleep's, and also the Big Sleep Japanese title is Oinaru Nemuri. It's a kind of direct translation, but so Mitsu Kazoero Oinaru Nemuri connected to the Big Sleep. So it's a kind of distance. But anyway, now I know, so it's connected to the Murakami's literary interest. And also literature. So many literature feature Turgenev, Rudin, Dostoevsky, the brothers Karamazov, Konrad Lorenz, Balzac, not referred about specific title, but it must be the peasant. So, and each depiction is kind of very interesting, especially when the brothers Karamazov, Dostoevsky, Murakami so many times referred about this literary giant, and especially in this novel, Hardboiled Wonderland, protagonist referred about brothers Karamazov. So when you read through this very long novel, it's much more interesting. But if you don't, but still you can tell the nuance. So but after reading Murakami's novel, step into these kind of classic novels, one way to deep read deeply, right? So that's all for me. So thank you for watching. Actually, this novel is a really nice one, and there are so many things I'd like to talk about, but it's basically a book guide for a beginner. So I wrap up around here. And if you read and interesting, please feel free to give me a comment. I would appreciate. Right. So, okay, that's all. Thank you again. So if you like it, please give me a good rate, and I would appreciate if you subscribe my channel. So in the next video, let's see a next video. Until then, see you. Bye.